Nope, I'm ready to go. So,
welcome back to local politics.
Yeah, I got the red, white, and blue hat going here
you,
now.
Man.
It's about freedom, right?
Yeah, man, sporting all that good-looking swag.
Yeah,
Damn, that looks good.
I see you're wearing that hat from the other show.
Yes, the original show.
The original local business, is it now?
I don't know what it's going to be yet.
All right,
I had a couple ideas, but you keep shooting me out of the water.
Well, today though, Jason, we got very fortunate in the studio today. Councilman, Universal City Councilman, an architect, a father, a watchdog, probably a lot of other things. The one and only Councilman Bear Goolsby. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Yay. That's what it sounds like in my truck every time I get in.
Every time you get in?
I've got that same button.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Makes me feel good about getting up in the morning.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you ask my Google who I am Bear, Master of the Universe.
I love it.
So, Bear, Master of the Universe.
Yeah.
Makes me happy.
I think I'm Kevin Thor. I got to work on my arms a little bit. I'm almost there.
Man, I'm just Jason.
Yeah. As you can see in front of me here, my little postcard, Bear, you're not here to talk about Universal City politics. You're not here to talk about the Watchdog program and all the volunteer work you've done for Judson or those other things. Today, you're part of an organization that is helping get the Judson bond across the line.
Yes.
And that is what on your shirt, obviously you're a yes vote.
Yes,
and perfect. And it looks like there's two props, A and B. So the Judson School District has decided to go out for a bond, about $350 million. It's a lot of money. For the record, I am supporting this bond. But we'll start off the interview with that. There's no secrets. But why did you get behind this one? What motivated you to actually chip in and help out?
I've always had this philosophy in life that is stand up or shut up, right? Yeah. If you don't like it, then stand up and argue your point. Stand up, support your point. If you don't, and it comes to voting as well. If you don't stand up and vote, then you just sit there quietly, don't complain, do what you're told because you didn't vote. So I've always kind of lived that way. When it was for Cub Scouts, if they weren't doing scouts the way I liked, you know what I did? I started having one of the little groups. Then the next thing you know, I'm the pack leader. I'm the guy. I'm the head rah-rah guy. And then I was everything. And then pack got big, and we need people to do these other parts. So it's just been a philosophy for me. It's stand up or shut up. And when last year the bond did not pass, I looked back and I was like, well, Bear, you really didn't do everything you could have to help that bond. So I decided that, I need to step in and help out. And so I asked a couple of people, and they said, well, this is what you need to do. We need somebody to kind of help fundraise and buy signs and do that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not that great at fundraising, but if you want to sell popcorn or something like that, I can do that. But somebody's like, well, we know people who can help fundraise. Oh, okay. We really need people that kind of can take charge and take lead. Okay. So the spot was available. And again, it was the philosophy of stand up or shut up. So I stood up, went ahead and jumped in the gap. And next thing you know, there are people coming out of the woodwork to help. And it's because all of us are sharing the same story of we saw last year where things could have been pushed harder, pushed in a different direction. And we kind of feel like we've learned from our previous mistakes. And I think that's kind of how this has kind of come to be.
What's burning in your heart, or what's really motivating you to help with this one?
I can't sit there and tell people who don't have kids in the district that you need to support this bond, or to be mad if they don't support the bond. But I feel like we need to support our school district, our kids, our teachers, the staff. We need that. And if I can't support, if I can't do everything I can to support that, how can I be frustrated when I see that there is a need, but I didn't support it? It all kind of rolls together. It's just, I've got two kids in the district now. They're in high school, so they're short timers. they won't get any benefit out of this other than maybe some reduced traffic on 1604 at 35, because we won't when this Proposition B passes, the 2 new schools, then we won't have near the number of people crossing to get to Kitty Hawk, which is the middle school for the north side of the district. All those students are crossing or on 1604 getting down to Kitty Hawk. So, yeah, I guess you'd call that self-serving. I'm looking for a little faster traffic.
There's 2 propositions to this bond, and essentially everybody needs to know. And bond is like taking a mortgage out on your house. Judson put out a video. I thought that was a good example. They're asking to borrow money because we don't have $300 million laying around, and we're not going to quadruple the tax rate to try to come up with it or whatever. Judson doesn't just do bonds, Church do in the local school districts, just to build a water park or stuff like that. And so this bond, for the folks at home, this will raise your tax rate. Correct?
Yes, because the district dropped it 5 cents, but this puts 1 cent back. So
you still got a net 4.
So you still got a net 4 down.
A tax cut of 4 cents.
Yeah.
And Judson, I looked it up, is one of the lowest tax rate districts in the region.
You don't want to be at the top or the bottom of those scales of, let's be in the middle. And if we're looking for, rates, let's be lower as low as we can. But I know that we're definitely not in that higher end of the spectrum.
What is that? Every 100,000? My math. What is that?
Basically, when I remember we did the exercise and it came out to about 14, like an extra $14 or something, and I'm like, you're talking a Whataburger meal a month. Mm. A Whataburger meal a month is going to make 2 new schools and everybody's security. I mean, I can give up a Whataburger.
But the district just gave you 4 Whataburger meals back, going on to Prop B. So that's what got my attention. Of course, Prop A, these are both equally, I don't know why they even do 2. It should be 1. But in my mind, that's just how my brain works, because we're talking about school safety, school security. Obviously, we've had Uvalde, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So this will add a school in Selma, correct?
Yes, in that area. I'm not. They know. District knows exactly where. I know it's in the Selma area. I
know you've been to a lot of meetings on this bond. Is what happens if this school's not built?
You'll see more portables, which again, there's no way to. There's not an easy way to make those secure. I mean, money can fix anything, but now you're taking away from every other plan the district has. So the portables are not easy to secure. You're going to start busing kids. You're going to see the district start moving kids from their local school further down the district into the next school, to the next school, to the next school. It's not. It becomes a logistical nightmare trying to figure out how to get these kids that live right next to this elementary school from that neighborhood. They should be going in there, but now they're going to be moving to the next.
So the other part of Prop B is this would put a middle school up by that elementary school. And just to give you an idea, Jason, so that this elementary school is up near TPC almost.
Golly.
Yeah, the Judson goes from Kirby to TPC pretty much.
It is all the way around. It's a huge district.
And then the third main component of Prop B is, I don't know if we have it on the website, is the buses.
Judson has a fleet of buses. This helps to supplement those buses and to replace some of the buses that are 15 years old. And I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, I mean, basically though, Prop B. What we're talking about is 3 phases: elementary, middle, and
in the bus,
taking care of the buses.
Yeah, all under one proposition. So.
I do want to throw some numbers out that are on the website. It's in the description. On the Proposition B, if you look at the chart that's on the district hired a consultant to help with some demographic information. And this demographer did some presentations just to inform the public on where they're at. And if you look at, you take the portables, for example, out of Rolling Meadows, and they're starting off at 130% of capacity right now. And by 25, they would be at about 160%. And they're running out of places to put the portables over there.
Wow.
Just to give you an idea of the growth in the population. And It's interesting.
Every one of these schools is over capacity.
Correct.
What amazes me is when you just look at these numbers and how they're just continuing to climb. And like you said, in Selma, you see the thing for the apartments coming. We're seeing the same thing. I mean, there are that home ownership idea. The number of rentals is just crazy. How many apartments at rooftops we're getting. Home ownership out in the Wortham Oaks area, the apartments in Selma and UC. It's scary when you just look at the number of people that could be in the district, and we're looking at numbers like that.
And the problem is even if the bond passed now, it's not like the school is going to be ready for the 23-24 school year, you know. And so you're kind of planning out a little bit for your community, your property value. You know, community schools are about safety. They're about building communities and people coming together, and, you know, a lot of other things in our society aren't filling those gaps. You know, we come together on social media and bash each other nowadays, you know, and schools are still in churches and some places are still kind of those areas where people come together.
A lot of people want to know, why is it just on the north side? Because that's where the heaviest is right now. There are plans to look at the expansion that's going to happen on the southern side of the district, but that's not as pressing right now, and we're not seeing as many new rooftops on that area of the district that are immediate. I mean, this is immediate. Mm-hmm. In 5 years, the southern side will be immediate, and we have to take care of it.
We have a pretty good school board right now. Judson does, though, I think, and an amazing superintendent. I love Dr. Ball. Yeah. Like something happens to Johnny and Selma, and I'm going to recruit her. Well, like seriously, like she is, you know, for the amount of money that they get paid, the workload is. I was at like my kid's middle school basketball game, and she showed up. There's like 8 people there, and she's like, I just want to come say hi to everybody and make sure, you know. I was like, what? Well, on her Saturday, you know, I was like, man, why aren't you down at the Pearl having some wine or something? You know, do you take a vacation? Does she ever leave Texas? You know, I sing her praises because the other night we had one of these meetings that I want to talk about, the public meetings. Yeah, we had one of these meetings where one of the parents or just people was there, and she asked the question of. I told you that there was issues with the fencing around the school, that the auto shop wasn't secure, and because the doors were up. And so Dr. Ball said, well, by gosh, that's a problem. And she went the next day. After she heard about it, she went the very next day and did an inspection. There are fences around the auto shop, but because they're working on cars and the exhaust that come off of these cars and the fumes, they have to leave the doors open, or they have to buy a very expensive ventilation system, which we won't get into. But it's not in this bond. So the ventilation. Yeah, no. But the fact that she went that next day to verify this because she had heard a concern, Well, and she was finally able to address the employee retention issues. Mm-hmm. She was finally able to pay our educators so we're competitive so they do stay. She's just accomplished so much, and she's just a leader. And, you know, I don't agree with, you know, I follow, when I'm not watching Shirt's city council meetings, I'll tune into the school board meeting. But, I mean, she's just, you know, I don't agree with everything that she's tried and done, but you're never gonna. But overall, and, you know, I don't want to, you know, there's other wonderful superintendents and in our history and around in this area, but there's nobody like her. No, she's done an exceptional job, and to see where the district is today versus before she got here. Yeah. I think she's done a fantastic job, and I expect her to continue doing that fantastic job. Does she run off of batteries? Like the Energizer Bunny. Yeah, they're the lithium ones. Yeah. Lithium.
Same ones that Elon Musk uses.
All right. Prop A. If you go to the website for Prop A, somebody asked me to send a picture of my daughter getting on a bus. And so that is my daughter, Lakin, on the Prop A Facebook page. Another quote by a school board member, Macias there, but Prop A is the one that seemed very obvious, especially after Uvalde. Mm-hmm. And the district, we had Jose in here, our first guest on the show. We wanted to talk to him about some of that kind of stuff, and we talked about societal problems. We had Mayor Cibolo asked him, remember, he was very, very passionate about what he said. What Prop A does is kind of addresses the things that we can control now more and more immediate. And it's not just about school safety, preventing mass casualty events with elementary students, but it's also, that just sounds horrible. Like, I can't believe I just said that, but it's also about it's like safety and security.
It is. When we talk about this, a lot of people want to, we're putting in the infrastructure for that safety and security. I don't just automatically go and change the lock and, hey, it works magically. It does. It's not a magic button. There's infrastructure that takes. So there's wiring for power. There's wiring for your internets, all of that stuff. The air conditioning systems, people ask me, because part of this, and I mean this, I'm going to lay it out there because I hear it all the time. How are air conditioning the gyms safety and security? It's like, because we live in the great state of Texas, and if there's a lockdown and it's 105 out there, and they shut those doors on those metal boxes that are not air conditioned, and they stay that way
for 2 hours.
Your kids, you don't lock your dog in the car like that. Would you do it to somebody else's kids? So the power, all the cabling that's required for this. That's just for locks, right? And then we talked about the air conditioning, and then upgrading the gyms to a point, with insulation, because we don't want to just air condition a metal box, because that's kind of a waste of future monies. And, people ask, well, what have you done to date? And it's like, well, they've already looked at some of these, at the campuses to see, and they've got some of these campuses that had so many entry points, as an architect, one of our things is the health, safety, and welfare. And if there's a fire in a building, I want people to be able to get out. That's right. They've got to be able to get out. But what does that do? That gives me access points into the building. Sure. So what the district has done is gone through and mitigated all of these access points to the building. Some of the buildings, there was one of our high schools is a prime example. There were, over 30 something access points into the building because of the size of the school, the doors, and
fire code.
And kids would come, and people can just come in all around it. Well, they've limited it to three main entrances. That way you can have your 2 campus police officers at the high school, and then your staff really be able to keep an eye on the kids and those entry points, and to make sure you've contained things. So
I'm curious, just because I'm a nerd, whenever you say access points into the building, I mean, we all know what that means, but so does it count as an access point if, say, for example, this is a stupid example, but I want to use it anyway, if the whole property was completely fenced in like a prison, would those still be access points?
That's a great question. I would still consider it an access point. I mean, for fire code, it's an access point. Again, I believe the guy in Uvalde, I hate referring back to Uvalde because of, I'm sorry, and there are political guys that are playing those things that, if you feel bad for the kids in Uvalde and those families, then you need to vote a certain way. Oh. No, you need to yell at people if you feel bad about that, because it doesn't matter. Anyway, so I hate using Uvalde all the time, but it is fresh in everybody's mind. I believe they went through a fence, like an old chain link fence, or he tore one of those down. So there are levels that you have to get through. Nothing is perfect. Very few things are 100% impenetrable. So it's limiting, and it's adding as many levels as you can.
So the Prop A, safety and security, and Prop B is a couple, elementary, middle school, and the buses. Is the security and safety across all the schools?
Yes.
There's the district actually put out a kind of a chart that shows what's going on at all of the schools. I believe there is one school that nothing was listed on. I don't remember which one that was, but I think there's one school that doesn't have anything going on with it.
The plan is hopefully if we get this bond passed, or when this bond passes to Props A and B, then that's going to help us take the temperature of the community and then decide how to move forward with other safety and security items. Quick fact about Judson is they have a police force with a chief, police chief, they own
Well,
police cars.
22,000 kids. It's bigger than the city I grew up
there's
in.
It's about 30 people, I think, work for the department. They also have MOUs, memorandums of understanding, with local municipalities like Universal City, and obviously Selma would be eager to help with whatever at the elementary school here. You know, we've wanted an elementary school in Selma for a long time. We've needed one. That's still not enough coverage. I mean, these schools are calling and saying, hey, you know, we got this parent, you know, can you come up, you know, today? And they have to maybe call the city or something to help out sometimes.
Well, I kind of like the idea if Judson's going to have a school out here in Selma, that's going to, we're going to get some of that police force, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a big robust police force that keeps the local politics world headquarters safe.
Well, you know, that's debatable.
Yeah, all right.
Or at least they keep you driving 45 on the access road.
There you go.
We're picking up all that money in front of the hotel there that Universal City built, so, on 35. So. Did we get everything? We got the gyms, we got the technology infrastructure, obviously better communication stuff in times of emergency, power outage, some sort of mass, event like that.
I mean, if you really want to get down to it, Prop B is, I mean, we're talking buses, middle school and elementary school. I mean, we can technically wrap those into safety and security. You know what I mean? You're already over capacity. These are going to be safety issues at some point.
Oh, they are. And that's one of the big things is, I mean, their state law is just how many kids you can have in your classrooms, right? So once you start to exceed that, now we're putting those dreaded portables up, and all that is safety and security issues. I mean, and talk about irritating your teachers.
Yeah.
Whenever your teachers are sitting there just constantly bursting at the seams.
So that's Prop A and Prop B. That's this bond. Obviously, if Prop B doesn't pass, you said they're going to move portables in Universal City. You guys do have an ordinance for that, where you have some teeth, but I cannot imagine the council saying no to Judson. It would be pretty wild decision.
Yeah, because if you started telling these parents that we're going to be shipping your kid from that school right next to your house to another school a few miles away, adding another 20 minutes to your morning, 30 minutes to your morning. And again, that's what the schools are there for, is the community aspect. Yeah. So anyway, so there's not a council member that maybe one or two that that wouldn't be happy about that.
And if you don't try to do a little something for that, and then of course the safety and security, heaven forbid something happen, but just remember, you voted no, or you didn't vote. Hey, that's
a big thing.
Well, we were talking about, who were we talking about that? It was Jose Macias. He was talking about 30,000 people in his. What was he? What were the numbers on that?
50,000 people in the district.
Voters.
Yeah. He was talking about 30,000 people and like 400 voted, or 1,200 voted,
1,200 or something. It was something ridiculous. So everybody's all up in arms about Uvalde, and heads are going to roll. Everything's okay. Well, it's after the fact. You're responding to something that was tragic. We're trying to get out in front of something with this. You know what I mean?
See, we've been trying for years. I mean, the district they recognized the vulnerability at the front doors, right? Mm-hmm. And so that was years ago. The vestibule projects, right? Let's start here, and let's start making these. Let's start making these improvements, and then again, as technology improves, it makes this easier, because you're not talking about schools that were built just a couple of years ago that have a lot of easy access. You're talking about these older buildings that have very little access throughout the building.
Just got air conditioning.
Yeah, just got air conditioning. So the technology has improved so much that now there's a lot more capabilities out there, and that's what we're trying to take advantage of. Is we have this ability now to do this within a budget that's not, while this is astronomical, it's not an astronomical when you talk about the budget of the district. So.
Who would be opposed to this? Have you run into anybody opposed?
Oh yeah. Well, I've got two of my favorites. One of them was upset that the district had not done any security upgrades because, Uvalde just happened. So why is this coming out now? Well, we tried last year before Uvalde. They've been doing it for years. So
they've been doing what for years?
Security upgrades, like the vestibules, like we.
Okay.
Yeah, with the bonds to support continuing. This is a process. We're in the middle of the process.
So one of the the no's is what
Was upset that the district hadn't done it before.
Even though we
this
just
is
had,
what this is.
even though they just had a bond for a no tax rate increase bond,
So why would somebody vote no to that?
because they're an asshole.
I said I was going to ask the dumb questions.
No.
So is it possible that, you know, people that are voting no to a no tax increase bond think that that money's going to go to salaries or bonuses or
It can't.
It can't.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm not that dumb, but I mean, is that
you want the real answer, because it'll cut the tax. It could cut the tax rate.
Yeah.
It's a no increase bond, but if it doesn't pass, they're going to end up cutting the rate at some point because the bond's about to expire, and so you tack the next one on.
No. I'm going to say right now, anybody that voted no is not sharp enough to follow along what you just said. I'm not.
They think they are.
Yeah.
Well, no. So, like, if you're saying and okay, let me back up a little bit. Out of 50,000 people, we're talking about 1,200 people, right? So 1,200 people that voted no, or
Yeah.
okay.
People might be upset with other issues in their life or anything. They taking it out on you.
I'm getting derailed here. This right here, this is important. It seems like you need to be reaching out to kids' parents. That's at the end of the day is who's going to make this go, right?
If they vote.
But that's my point exactly.
Involved,
That's my point exactly.
It's a frustration for me, and I have a hard time not being on a soapbox about that because, you know.
Well, here, I'm just going to say this: if you're a parent and you are concerned, or you have any concern that your kid is going to school into a Uvalde type of situation, go vote. It's that simple.
It is. And then if you're a parent that is frustrated at the overcrowding of the school, so you're going to take your kid out of Judson and put those kids into a charter school, and then you're not going to support the bond because you're taking your kids out of the school because it's overcrowded, but the bond is to build a new school.
It's going to cost you one Whataburger. Not even that.
And you're still going to pay the property taxes on it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't understand that logic.
I hope you
I'm
enjoy
mad at
your
the
Whataburger.
district because of overcrowding, but I'm not going to support the bond that would alleviate the overcrowding. I'm taking my kids out of and I heard I've got one that, you know, there's this Kevin may tell you that he doesn't want me to talk about this, but
Doesn't matter. I'll mute his microphone right now.
okay, there's an issue with the district is what's called an open district. I can go to whatever school I want to, and kids not in Judson can go to this. Now the state gives us money for those kids, right? So that there's
$6,500 roughly per student, somewhere in there. Yeah.
So we get money from that, but this is a drop in the bucket the number of kids that are coming in from out of district is a small drop in the bucket. I mean, 2 kids per school
Might be 600, maybe 600 total students is the rough estimate that I have right now.
Out of 22,000. So yeah, the you're saying a potential argument is the out of network.
It's one quarter. It's a quarter.
Yeah.
1/4 of 1% of the total student population.
And
so yeah, I mean, I can understand the argument. It just is not very logical.
Well,
I don't want to pay for somebody else's kids coming. Something along those lines. But yeah.
And when we asked the district, why did you do this? Basically, it's because we're competing with the charter schools. I mean, the school district is, let's be honest, it is still a business, right? I have staff, I have customers, and I have a product. And at the end of the day, if we don't have enough customers or we don't have enough, we don't have enough product going out, why are we in business? So they are still competing for those kids in the district that are going to the charter schools. But we're starting to see a lot, and we saw a mass
the reviews
exodus
online from charter schools. I was looking at that. One of the residents up at Monica Ryan pointed me to the Great Hearts Charter School, and I was reading some stuff, man, and there's like people, I'm not going to run any businesses over or schools over or whatever, but people are coming back to Judson from there, she was telling me.
So hold on, let me stop you there real quick, though. There's a difference between a charter school and a private school.
Correct.
Charter school still gets tax.
Correct.
Yes.
Fund. Yeah. So private schools completely.
A charter school can come into a district's territory and compete with the district using the same relatively similar playing field.
Again, I'm a firm believer in charter schools because I believe in competition. I believe we need to have something for everyone. And so, but when we saw this mass exodus to the charter schools, but now we're seeing this comeback, And Judson sitting there like, oh my gosh. So that's the mass exodus was a huge reason for the open district idea.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, we allow other kids, but it's such a small percentage. Is it causing some problems? It's probably to a point where the school board's going to start having to address it and some of those things, but it was certainly not anticipated. We were the public school systems in our Schertz-Cibolo is declining or flattening out for sure in their student body population. And, Judson hired a demographer to look at this stuff, and there's expected a ton of growth. And so let's build safe, smart schools. Let's take the schools we have and make them safer, make them smarter, make them more efficient, make it easier for our police officers to communicate. How do you think it's going when you talk to people?
It's horrible. I'm just kidding. It's great.
I hate this. I can't wait for this to be over.
No, because I don't want us to be complacent. That's the problem is it's going good. Oh, I don't need to go and get,
Sure.
We've all done it. Just, looked up and it's like, oh crap, today's the last day to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Early vote. I'm a firm believer in early voting because you can go just about anywhere and vote. We see a lot of people that are really behind this. The district has had so many community events to get the word out. People are all the time saying, well, you didn't have anybody have input. This is just what the district, this is all the district stuff. No, we had input. We had input going for a year or longer. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've had input anytime we wanted. Number one, I could pick up the phone, call up somebody over there, and we could set up a meeting and have a conversation. Secondly, on the website, it talks about the growth and planning committees. You want to join one, show up.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do is show up. And
right.
They want to hear what people have to say. So if you're mad that they haven't heard you, it's because you haven't tried to talk to them.
So Election Day is coming up, and I know you want to list off some events. We'll certainly give you a chance to do that. We want to make sure everybody's aware. If you want to come meet Bear Goolsby in person, councilman, he'll sign. You'll see me. I'll have this hat on, and I have one of those red shirts. I'll be out wearing it. Bear, if heaven forbid this doesn't pass, and our schools are overcrowded, we're redistricting, we're going through this dark future's upon us. Are you going to come out and proclaim that the election was rigged? No, I mean, I don't think anybody envisions this not passing as long as everybody keeps talking to their neighbors and doing these things. But heaven forbid that happens. I don't know if I have any more gas in the tank myself to help with another planning committee. So I'm not. Some other people are going to have to more community. I don't know what the solution is.
Kevin, if everybody would stand up instead of just shutting up.
Yeah.
Or those people that just sit behind their computer and complain. Join in.
Yeah.
Be a part of the solution. Quit complaining about it. Be a part of the solution. You don't like how the school lunch looks? Go talk to the people at the district about it.
Right.
If they don't answer you, then go to social media. Don't start off day one with a picture.
Yeah,
well, it's just so much easier to do that, though.
Yeah, no, it is. It's stupid. So Judson has a little history with naming schools, and no, I want to say it here on the show.
Bear Goolsby Middle School. I'm fine with it.
Okay, you want the middle
in Selma?
Okay, yeah. So I don't. Well, the middle school is going to be at Wortham, and I wanted to say on here that they should name the middle school after you, and at Olympia, if this doesn't pass, my good friend, Councilman Phil Vaughn, we can name a portable after him, Phil. We're going to name a portable after you, buddy. I'm just kidding. No, seriously. So I think you should be on the committee to name the new school after you put in this effort. Don't you think? Like, Jason, doesn't that sound like...
No.
And we can announce it here on the podcast.
I mean, my brain just went with that whole portable naming thing. I think we got a win-win here.
Well, in fairness to Phil, in case this makes the edit, Phil Vaughn is a very dedicated council member
Yes.
and a very successful business owner, and his mom's business and Debbie Frazier's business, Armstrong Vaughn, I'll give him a shout out even. They do a lot of the accounting work. They do the city audits in this region, and they've been
work with the chamber too.
Yep, and the Tri-County Chamber, they've been incredible champions. Phil's a great guy, a very passionate person. He's very fiscally conservative and very, very hard to negotiate, to convince of something. And so I've been kind of picking on him a little bit about this bond, and I think we're going to get him on board. Bear and I have a bet on this one.
Yeah, and I think that if I can
He's not on board?
well, he's on the fence, right? Because again, prove it is what I mean. Again, I'm one of those guys that I do see a 10,000-foot view, right? I see what's going on. I see this, and I'm okay. That's that. I'm sold, but that's how I'm built. Other people are built to. You have to spell it out 100%. I need to know exactly what road you're going to repair with my bond money.
Sure.
No, we need to repair roads. That's how
And
I
Phil
look at it.
and Phil's very detailed. He's a CPA. He's very detail oriented. He's a Jim Parma type guy.
Well, that seems to, even in my mind, seems like he would be more. I mean,
I think he's going to do it.
It's not going to cost.
I'm going to say it on the show. Phil's going to vote yes. Come on, I know he will.
Well, I'm still again. He's one of those you have to prove things to.
He's got such a good sign spot there in Universal Boulevard.
I know.
Man, if we could put a big, do you think is he going to be out of town? Do you have his vacation schedule?
He's going to be busy Tuesday night.
Prop A and
Oh,
B
is he?
4x8 sign
So,
right in front of his
no.
office.
He's got his office is in Universal City too. We could hit them both. Yeah.
If you go, if I can get the people like that want that thing spelled out. If you go and to students first #1, with the #1 first .net. So students the #1 first .net.
It's down in the description for anybody that wants to see it. It'll be down in the description of the body on YouTube, and if you're on Spotify, you can spell it out. So after you like and subscribe, make sure you click the link to go to the website.
Yeah, and you can go to the website and you can look at the demographic numbers and see the growth that is here and that is expected.
A couple things from the pack coming up that we can expect, not necessarily events, but obviously I see a fancy T-shirt. You got any more of those?
I do, but I need you to sign up as a volunteer.
Okay.
And I need you to promise that you're going to go talk to your neighbors. Well, that's one of the big things for us is I do have a sign you can have.
Okay.
But the T-shirts are set up for anybody that wants to volunteer or wear it around if they're going to an event and they want to wear it, that sort of thing. I've actually had people with the T-shirt that they never wore. So we look for people that are going to volunteer.
And you can contact the pack from through the website to make a donation.
You can, yes.
Okay. And then any flyovers with like streamers behind it or anything with the, vote yes, A and B, or Jason, you have any ideas? What's your favorite little campaign? You like stickers. I know you're a sticker guy.
This one thing that this show has taught me is this. You politicians, and I'm not going to, rope Bear into this category, but you politicians are very strategic and you know a lot of data. Okay?
Yeah.
And hold on, I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
You guys, Carpenter was a real tight-lipped with his strategy.
Never get it out of him.
But
I know
Mayor Boyle, he was nice enough to share that he looked up who voted in his district and then he targeted those people.
You can do that.
Yeah.
It's public information request.
So it kind of seems like,
look, Mayor Boyle held up a sign saying no toll road in Cibolo, man, and people lined up around the corner for him.
so it seems like you guys can implement the same strategy for this bond.
We're getting pro tips from Jason.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Hey, but I'm here to help.
Well, I like
so
buttons.
It seems like
I like buttons. I like randomly sticking stickers on Harley Davidsons. I see.
Whoa. No, but seriously, I mean, if we're talking out of like Jose Macias said, there was 50,000 people in his district, 1,200 of them voted. It seems like that's a short list to find out and go hammer those people and find out what the hell.
It is, but I'm also about getting those people that. I mean, that's always like one of the top priorities, right? Is
winning.
I know you're you're a voter.
Yeah, we're here to win.
I know you're a voter, and I want you to here's why you need to support it. Mm-hmm. But I want their neighbor who doesn't vote. Sure. I want them to see what this is and be like, oh, This is security for my kids. I'm not a voter, but I'll vote on this one.
That's great. That's a great place to be.
There's it's the boots on the ground. I mean, it's that's the hard work, but that's the most effective. I mean, when you go and talk to people door to door, it is not easy, but it is the most effective. It
works. That's the trick.
One thing I want to make sure people understand is if your city or wherever you're at has that has the homestead exemption for 65 and older.
Yeah,
this doesn't the voting yes does not affect you. I
hear what you're saying. You want the community to be passionate about like where you're at with this, But I mean, for me, I want to see those. I want to win. I think it's. You're exactly right. You are exactly right. If you have kids that go, like I said earlier, if you have kids that go to school and you have any concern about anything, you need to be involved. Period.
Be involved.
Don't bitch that hey, somebody did something horrible to our school and our kids and everything. It's too late. It's too late.
Everything else in your world should revolve around those kids. And if you can't move mountains to make sure that they're safe and secure and getting a good education,
no. Some events. So the pack and some of the volunteers, it's like herding butterflies a little bit, but they are organized. There's a lot of different events coming up. We're looking to put one together. The pack's looking to put one together in Kirby.
Yes. We're trying to hit all the different all different areas of the district, and it's a huge district. So for the specifics, again, I'm not the specifics guy. Yeah. I wish I had that in front of me. It might be on the website or the Facebook page. The district site has things on there. On Judson's site, it has the upcoming events where if you want to get it from the horse's mouth, that's where you go. Come to me, I'm going to tell you, yay, it's all great, vote for it. You go to them and you can ask your questions directly of them and they'll answer them.
And details and data, man. The amount of research that goes in when you're going to ask your community for $300 million is just unbelievable. The amount of details and facts and stats. And Tom Daly, Mayor Selma, is 100% behind this. He is actively out campaigning to help get this across the line. Councilman Goolsby, of course, I believe your mayor likes this as well. Mayor John Williams, Universal City, is definitely Paul Nigerian. I asked him the other day. He told me he's 100% supporting this.
Stephen Buck, we just dropped a council member for Universal City. We just dropped a sign off in his yard. Tuesday night, I will be harassing the rest of my council, not in a quorum,
of course,
but to see if I can start dropping.
Every school board member showed up at the event when he handed out signs. I see their pictures on the thing. Every school board member is behind this, which makes sense. Bear County Commissioner Tommy Calvert supports this fully. Mary Dennis supports this fully. Ed Simic supports this fully. The mayor of Kirby supports this fully. I believe Al Suarez is on board. So you have all the cities, the county commissioner. I wrote a letter to, I made a couple phone calls to Henry Cuellar's office. I believe the congressman is going to support this bond as well. Everybody is buying into school safety and security for a penny.
You've got big problems happening now, and they're not affecting anybody per se too badly. You got overcrowding. Yeah, you got this. But, I mean, like y'all said earlier, if you pass this in November, when this passes, it's not like you're going to see the results next year.
You have design, which I'm sorry, they don't just take the last project off the shelf. You learn from everything.
Yeah.
Right. You learn from each design, each building. You learn from it, and you move, and so that progresses. And then
they weren't waiting on you to call them, so they got their own schedules. And this is across all design aspects, all the different trades, and all the different people. This isn't gonna, and then you got to start scratching dirt, and
you don't build it in one night. This isn't.
To all those draftsmen and architects out there that are overworked.
The struggle is real.
Yes, sir. It is.
But it will take probably a year planning, design, engineering, all that kind of stuff. Then you got to get the permits. They got permits for everything. I've talked about that on this show.
One thing that the district's always trying to do is to stay ahead of what's our next, what's going to need updates next.
How come when they build, they go into like design and they're doing all the design and stuff, and then they get done and it gets approved, and then they go clear the land? Why aren't they clearing the land while the design process is going on?
Depends on the project. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, it depends on how you do it, because
and then how you permit it.
Yeah, you can permit it.
Permit just go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
It's your show. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're my guest. Okay. The 80-20 rule. Go ahead.
All right. It's a site work permit. You can get a site work permit. So I've got to have all of my utilities nailed down. Right. And so if I change something later in the design, well, I've already got that site work moving, boys, because we're on a time schedule. But if I make a change later on because of fire code, somebody missed something, oh my gosh, we only have 20 kids. I needed to design it for 25. There's so many things that can come up, and that can slow us down or cost us money in the future. So you really want to make sure that your set of plan, in my world, again, right? Sorry, I'm not designing these schools. That's not my gig. So you see that in a school to where it would be very difficult to get everything 100% until further into the process. I don't want to be doing the site and then still buttoning up some of my details. I want that whole thing done.
There's a lot of moving parts to a community, and it takes a community to be involved. So you don't have any skin in this game other than your kids, and they're short-termers in the grand scheme of things. They won't see, like you said, any benefit of this, but it's important for your community.
It really is, and being on council, I feel like this is one of those aspects that is going to help our community, right? If we can have, I'm sorry, I'm going to digress one more time. If we've got somebody looking to buy a house in your neighborhood and that school district has a C rating or a D rating or a horrible rating, you're not, that house is lower on my I want list.
Realtors are often approached with, hey, it's got to have a good school, and then hell, Summer Marie was just in here. She said that they ended up in Cibolo because they were talking about it in Korea.
She said, I was over in Korea and I ended up in Cibolo because people in Korea were talking about Cibolo and I wanted to come live in Cibolo.
They said what a great community Cibolo was. How good the schools were.
Yeah, it's a little loud downtown at night. But
yeah. Heaven forbid.
They were probably laughing about the fact that they wanted to put in that little local toll road or something. Just take pot shots
outside of the toll road. There's a pretty good community.
They can't vote on the bond. I'm going to say what I want. Damn it. I didn't think talking to you two would be this much fun.
I was scared to death. I was like, I know what Kevin, I have a good idea of Kevin. I don't know this other guy.
He's putting a room with the two of you.
A draftsman and an architect.
So walk into a podcast studio.
There you go. I love it, man.
So whenever we book people, we try to have, a minimum of 2 hours, and then sometimes it'll go a little bit longer, just depending, right? Well, so like me and Marcos, Eric Stopper, and then there was one more.
Pickett.
All three.
Harlan
No,
Pickett.
not Harlan. We had plenty of time. But there was another one. It was like all three of us, it was like, I was really into the conversation, and we were having these time constraints, and Eric was one of them. He almost like, you can't drop ayahuasca on me and be like, all right, man, I got to bounce. Yeah. We got to talk, man. When are you going to grow up here, Kevin? When are you going to get outside of your Selma, Cibolo shirts comfort zone and start reaching out to the real grassroots folks?
Once the election's over. That was a lot of interviews we did. That was a lot of work, man.
Probably bit off a little more than we were ready for, but that's how you grow. That's how shit goes. So
it was a lot, though, dude.
Dude, do you want to talk about herding butterflies? Trying to get freaking 5 politicians running for the same thought would be easy.
Early voting starts October 24th through November 4th. Election day is November 8th. You just missed the deadline to register to vote.
The registering to vote thing is only is if you changed something. Is that right?
Yeah.
You don't have to register to vote every year.
Correct.
See, I didn't know that. I thought it was this process that you had to go through every time, and I was like, this sucks.
No, go in, take an ID, and vote.
And you live in Church still, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're going to vote for mayor.
Actually, I've got residences, and I am going to have to register to vote like 6 times this year. So.
Councilman Bear Goolsby, dad, watchdog, architect, thank you so much for coming into local politics and talking with Jason and I today and having a good conversation, man.
I had a good time. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in here.
Thank y'all, Kevin, Jason. This was fun. This was, I appreciate y'all giving us the opportunity to tell people to get out there, learn about it, understand about it, ask questions about it, and vote yes.